Alright, I hope you guys enjoy this how-to video, how to live without money and have zero food overhead. And I hope people take this video to heart. It might help with my dreams of spreading the ideas of self-sufficiency and sustainability. But let's say, start with gardening. So maybe chapter 1, gardening. Some people say, oh, when things get bad, I'll grow my own food. It's too late. It takes years of practice to get good at gardening. Each plant is a gardening method. And you start off thinking that it's about plants. It starts to become about bugs and dirt, weather conditions. So I would say, number 1, just start gardening. If you're already gardening, good. Either look at what you eat and expand that, or plant only the things that you're currently using. You know, you sort of need to balance that with experimentation too, but yeah, just be strategic. The other thing, I think a greenhouse is important. You know, it can help you if you have anything from weather problems, insects, nuclear fallout. I mean, there's a lot that can be said for having a greenhouse. It's a tomato jungle in there. So, too much information to cover as far as an instructional video. You know, can't have it be on gardening. This is about how to live with no money and have no food overhead. So, step 1, start gardening, or expand or be more strategic with your gardening. Okay, next chapter. Alright, so you had success at gardening. Step 2, food preservation. Learn how to can. Start canning everything. Alright, so you're strategic with your gardening and you've expanded it as much as you could on your property, and we have zero food overhead on less than half an acre, so you know, pay attention if this is interesting you. We talked about being successful with gardening, so now you're canning. Dehydrating is another thing. These are our racks that we used to dry a lot of things with. We got some wheat that we grew over here, and we're just starting to live off the garden more and get more harvest this time of year. But now I'll show you another way that we preserve our food. Alright, freezing food. You know, we got a generator in case there's any problems. We're out here in the storage shed. You know, and the second and third freezers, catch limit of fish. You know, we've got that free of charge basically, except the expense of fishing, and then you know, some of the game meat and other things that we have. So we don't like the meat from the grocery store, and so we pretty much try to eat meat that we get from animals, hunt, or fish. And then of course you got the freezers, generator aspect to that. But there you go. Okay, so that's the first set of things. Gardening, harvesting, preserving your food, dehydrating, canning, freezing, all those things. So there's a lot to learn, big learning curve, so get started. But let's talk about really what propels everything that you see here. And that's chickens. Alright, so chickens. Got a few dozen chickens, and they eat all of our scraps. They give us our manure for our gardens, and they are also a food source. We can butcher them. We had a rooster that gave us all the babies we wanted, and so that we didn't buy chicks. We hatched them under hens, so we didn't use heat lamps. And then we have enough eggs that we can sell the eggs, and we make a profit over what we spend on their food. Ah, this tiny goat. I'll show you their food. Okay, so here we are, the magic wall of bulk chicken feed. And we're trying to grow all of our own food, barley and wheat and corn and peas for the chickens. But like I said, we're on less than half an acre, so we sell the eggs to pay for the food we buy, so we still are using zero money with a zero food overhead, zero food budget. And so here you go. We then soak the grains so they're sprouted grains, and when you tell people they're 100% organic sprouted grains that you're feeding your chickens, they like to buy your eggs, and so that all works. So chickens makes us money, eggs, meat, manure, eats our scraps. So that's the whole next set that I would work on, is chickens. And then you have rabbits, and we've bred rabbits, raised rabbits, but they've got a cuteness factor that, to me, chickens don't seem to have. And so we have these guys more as pets, but we have a male and female. Should we want to, they would provide us with 32 babies in 1 year. So that's like 32 meat meals in a year, every other week for a year. You know, so there's something to be said for the rabbits, but for us, they've so far just been pets. Electricity, of course. Go solar. And a quick little secret, I've got a little camper that I can rent out to family or friends for, you know, short periods of time, so that more than covers my property tax and utility bills for myself. Goats are kind of a toss-up. You have to really like the goat's milk or be selling the goat's milk. You have to be selling the babies or eating them yourself. You know, you have to be growing the food for the goats. You know, otherwise they could be expensive, they could make you money. They're kind of a toss-up. Not like the chicken. I think you'll always come out ahead with the chickens. And with the goats, I think it kind of depends on how you do it. But we like the goat's milk and cheese. Quick mention about quail. Their eggs are somewhat exotic, so they sell for the same price as chicken eggs. Wood heat's crucial to what we do, but we get the firewood ourselves. Water collection, that's something that can really save you money if you have to pay for water. So we use water collection, we use gray water, we also have water storage just for our drinking water. We have the ponds, which are an emergency water source, as well as a thermal mass to help with our gardening. So water is huge. We talked about meat, you know, hunting, fishing, butchering chickens, rabbits, goats. So when you look at the gardening, and you know, I talked about the greenhouse and we talked all about gardening. So gardening as well as animals. We talked about, you know, utilities, going solar. We have a fireplace that we use for heat, maybe a small rental that helps with some overhead. We several years back had a real estate investment that, and instead of stepping up, we stepped down to make living more within our means. So maybe that's something to look at. But there's some ideas for you. Living without money, zero food overhead.